y'all. It's Mary from Mostly Mary and Quite Contrary. And tonight I thought we would spill some tea on the Brooke Skylar Richardson case. I'm not sure if a lot of people know about it, but I've been following it because the case happened in my state, actually pretty close to where I live, and also because I became a mom at the age of 15. So anytime there's a case that involves a teenager, a young mom, hurting, killing her baby, whatever, it really interests me and gets to me because I can never fathom doing that. I mean, I was 15 years old when I had my oldest daughter, and everybody has their own opinion, and I'm not going to get into like pro-life, pro-choice. This isn't the video for that. But for me, I knew that I was going to become a mom because I was pregnant. Any other option never crossed my mind. Was I scared shitless? Yeah, very much so. Was I afraid to tell my parents? Hell yeah, I was afraid to tell my parents. But I knew that I had to, and I did. And the thought of hurting my baby never crossed my mind, ever. So when women, young ladies, do that or have that happen, I don't understand where they're coming from. I don't know the psyche behind it, and it just interests me. And law in general interests me. So yeah. So I have some notes. So from time to time I'm going to be looking at my notes. Okay. So Brooke Skylar Richardson, the Carlisle Baby Case. Essentially, her charges were aggravated murder and involuntary manslaughter, endangering children, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. Her plea was not guilty on all charges. Who is she? Richardson, Brooke Skylar Richardson, they call her Skylar, is now 20 years old. She was 18 years old in 2017 when this happened, and she graduated high school. On July 14, 2017, investigators discovered the remains of an infant buried near her family's home. What we know. Court documents indicate that Dr. Casey Boyce, OBGYN, had contacted police after a tearful Richardson told her she had gone into labor and delivered a stillborn baby. Then that she, quote, buried the baby in her backyard. Richardson stated that, quote, this happened months ago, and that the pregnancy had been kept a secret from everyone, including her parents. Remains of the infant were recovered from Richardson's parents' backyard. Forensic analysis of the recovered remains indicated in their belief that the infant baby girl had been born alive, and that it is believed by them that Richardson then killed the baby girl and hid her body by burying it. They also initially reported that they suspected the remains had been charred or burned, but after additional forensic analysis, that thought was redacted. And they believe that suspicion was false. That's what that basically means. So, okay, I'm going to go over a little bit about the prosecution team. So, and the defense team. The prosecutor, Warren County Prosecutor David Fornshell, he's a member of the Republican Party, not that that matters. He went to Pepperdine Law and graduated in 99. His political views are very conservative. Her defense team is Charles H. and Charles M. Ritgers. Charles M. attended Dartmouth College, attended University of Cincinnati, and obtained a law degree. Charles H. went to Miami University and obtained a BA, a Bachelor of Arts, in 1973. Then he attended Xavier University and received a Master's of Science in 1978. Then he attended University of Cincinnati and got a Doctor's of Jurisprudence in 1978, which is law. Important notes. Both the prosecutors and the defense team have placed emphasis on Richardson's clean-cut high school image, including her involvement in the Carlisle High School cheerleading squad. According to the prosecutor, Fornshell, quote, "The image was a facade worth killing for." According to the defense, Ricker's team, quote, "It's proof that she was an ordinary teenager who was blindsided and traumatized first by the stillbirth and then by her arrest." First of all, oh my God, come on. Seriously? Blindsided and traumatized by the stillbirth and her arrest. How about that baby was traumatized when she gave birth to it and killed it and dug a hole in her backyard and put it in there and maybe even tried to cremate it? They say that she said she didn't. They can't prove that she did. My thoughts are she probably did, because when they recovered the remains, they didn't find all the bones, and it was basically just bones that were left. And it hadn't been that long since it happened when they recovered the remains. So the baby should not have decomposed that fast. So something had to happen for there to be just bones there. And some of that baby's bones are missing. They're still missing 2 leg bones. And they do not have either one of the ankles, feet, or toes. So where'd they go? What happened with that? Who knows? Anyways, back to my notes. The judge presiding over the case was Judge Donald E. Oda II, and he was elected on November 6, 2012, and sworn in December 19, 2012. His current term expires December 2018. Okay. What we know. The whole trial has been televised, including sentencing. The judge talked about the trial being televised in the broadcast before sentencing. The reason that he decided that he wanted it to be televised is because Warren County is a really small town. And so, regardless of the outcome, he knew that there were going to be people talking and people questioning. And so, in light of that, he decided to reach out to the press and allow it to be televised. That way, the people of Warren County and the people surrounding that were interested in the case could watch the case, hear all the facts and the evidence, and then draw a conclusion for themselves. Sometimes in cases they allow open courtrooms, but Warren County is a small town, and the courtroom was not that large. So I think that was another reason why they allowed cameras in there, because people couldn't really be in there. Anyways, back to my notes. Just had to get that out there. Okay. This crime happened 2 years ago. And during these past 2 years, Skylar has been out on bond. She started on house arrest, and then they decided that they would lift the house arrest and grant her a curfew. So basically she has been going to college at St. Clair, which is a local college here, and working at her lawyer's office during all this time. Also, her lawyer, it's a father-son practice. And the son mentioned that Skylar would play with his little girl, who is around the same age that her baby would have been. And yeah, I just find that incredibly conflicting. When you're hired to be somebody's defense attorney, you don't employ them to work for you. And you don't allow them, like, around your children when it's that kind of crime. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm being overreacting or whatever, but I don't think that should happen, because I think that there should be a line between business and not business, and he was hired to defend her. So having her working in the office, to me, would be a conflict of interest, but hey, whatever. Okay, back to my notes. Let's talk confession tapes. She talks with the detectives, and she confesses. So basically what happens... Hang on, guys. I need to get a sip of my wine. Okay. Basically what happens is, she went to the gynecologist's office. This gynecologist is the same gynecologist that delivered her and delivered her brother, and her aunt works there. She made an appointment and went in there for birth control. She seemed really nervous and uncomfortable on the stand. The nurse that worked there, Ashley Sparkman testimony. Wait a minute, let me find it here. I'm sorry, guys, my notes are just everywhere. Okay. Okay. This testimony was from Ashley Sparkman, who was a medical assistant at the OBGYN practice, which is called, I think, Hilltop OBGYN. I'm not sure of that. I know it's in my notes, so I'll reaffirm that later. On July 12, 2017, Dr. Boyce, on schedule for birth control follow-up. Vital 130 pounds, BP 118/62, didn't appear pregnant at that visit. Dr. Boyce went in the exam room by herself. Dr. Boyce, Dr. Andrew, Ashley Sparkman, and 2 others were in the room. Dr. Boyce stated she had the baby and buried it. Okay, so basically, I'm getting ahead of myself. She went in for her first visit, and when she called to schedule the appointment, she said it was for birth control. The medical assistant said that she seemed oddly really nervous, and more nervous than a normal person would be. So at this appointment, she was scheduled to see Dr. Andrews, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so the medical assistant tells him that she seems really nervous. He says, okay, he goes in to basically examine her. And talking with her and examining her, he came to the conclusion that he would like for her to give a urine sample to take a pregnancy test, which is a common practice, because if you're going into an obstetrician's office to get birth control, by law, they're going to make sure that you're not pregnant first. That's just what you do. So she gives the urine sample, they test it, and it shows that she's pregnant. So Dr. Andrews goes back into the room, tells her this. She's obviously upset and distraught. He tries to comfort her, and then at this time they go from the exam room that she was in down to another room to do an ultrasound. So they go in that room, they do the ultrasound, and they confirm that yes, the test was correct, and she's about 32 weeks pregnant, roughly. So she was really pregnant, like close to full term. I mean, so she's very upset. He tells her that he would like for her to come in next week so they can do a more in-depth ultrasound to make sure that his guesses on the gestational age was right, and to check the organs and all that stuff that they need to do. He also tells her that she needs to let her parents know, and the father. So he says that he initially was going to give her birth control, but that after he found out she was pregnant, he was not going to. She said now that they did give her a prescription for birth control and that she took it. That was in the interrogation tapes. That was never confirmed. On the stand, under oath, they said that they did not give her a script for birth control. So I'm not sure who's telling the truth there or what happened. Maybe it went in electronically accidentally and she did pick it up and they thought they canceled it out. I don't know any of that. So basically, she leaves and she doesn't schedule next week. And then she shows up a couple months later on July 12th, 2017. She's on the schedule to see Dr. Boyce for birth control, which is another doctor in the practice. At this visit, Dr. Boyce sees in her chart that she had been pregnant. So she questions her about it. And Skylar basically tells her that she gave birth to the baby and it was stillborn and she buried it. So they leave her in the room. They go out and have a conversation. Dr. Boyce, Dr. Andrews, and some of the other clinical staff. And they come to the conclusion that they need to notify the authorities. So they notify the police. I'm not sure exactly how quick it happened. I don't know if she went straight from the office to the police station or what. But she ends up at the police station talking to detectives, where she tells them what she did. I watched the interrogation tapes. In the interrogation tapes, she stated that when the baby came out, it was making a gurgling noise and it cried. If a baby comes out gurgling and crying, it's alive. It's not stillborn. There's a lot of confusion because I don't think she really understood what the placenta was. She said that when the baby came out, the cord was broken and she didn't cut it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, basically, she confesses to taking the baby into the backyard and burying it. This is what really gets me. Like, seeing... So they recover the baby's bones. And the forensic testing that they did on the baby's bones, and I have notes. Stay tuned for part 2, and thank you for watching.